Hey friends, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Sarah from The Conscious Root, and today we're talking about vegan protein sources. I know it's kind of funny talking about this in 2021. I feel like we've had a lot of conversations about vegan protein, especially in the past few years, but this is a question that I get often still from family members, friends, people online, just wondering like, where do I get my protein from and what swaps have I made in terms of meat proteins and swapping them out with vegan options. So I'm going to be sharing with you about seven of my favorite vegan protein sources, and I have them all here. That's why I'm looking around frantically. Hopefully it sheds some light and gives you some ideas for vegan protein sources that you can easily access, and they're really easy to implement into your diet. So let's get right into it, and if you're liking the video at any point, feel free to like it. So before we begin, I'm just going to throw out two very quick numbers. These are the average grams of protein that the average woman and man should be consuming on a daily basis. Again, these are average numbers, so you should definitely consult with a professional if you want to know your range, but these are just averages. And so for women, it is 46 grams of protein a day, and for men, it is 56 grams of protein a day. Let's get into my personal sources that I like, and the first one being tofu. Tofu is super popular in the vegan community, and for a lot of fantastic reasons. I think tofu is really versatile. You can do so many things with tofu, and this is something that I didn't really know about when I wasn't vegan. I thought tofu was bland and boring and kind of weird, but now that I know that I can create just about whatever I want with tofu, it has opened my eyes to all of the fantastic dishes that I can make with tofu. So this is a firm block of tofu. Like you guys probably know, there are different kinds of textures such as silken, medium soft, firm, extra firm, super firm. And so with firm, I use this for tofu scramble. I use medium for my tofu egg salad that you guys know that I eat just about every single day. I also get super firm sometimes to do like a crispy baked tofu, which I put on the side of noodles or rice dishes. And there's just so many things that you can do with tofu. I think the biggest argument against tofu is that it's not flavorful, but if you think about it in terms of, say, chicken as a protein source, that doesn't have flavor either. You'd have to marinate it or season it. And so it's the same goes for tofu. So I would say open your mind to all the possibilities that tofu can create, and you're gonna have a good time. To give you some numbers, a serving of tofu, which is about 3.5 ounces, which is 100 grams or a little less than half a cup, has about 10 to 20 grams of protein in it. So quite a bit right there. But moving on to the next protein source, which I'm not gonna lie to you, this protein source I used to absolutely hate until recently, but we've got tempeh. I know it's strange at first. I know it's, not many people like tempeh, and for me personally, I didn't like it because of its bitter aftertaste. It had a really strange aftertaste to me, and some people don't like the texture. Tempeh is known for having a very interesting texture compared to its relative tofu. Tofu is very soft and consistent, but tempeh is from the actual bean, so it's very textured. But if you prepare it correctly, it blows my mind, honestly, and you have to marinate it. That's like the biggest thing. So I have a recipe on the blog on the best way to prepare tempeh. This recipe changed my whole perspective on tempeh, so definitely give it a try. It is going to be in the description box. But yeah, once you know how to prepare tempeh, it's delicious, and the texture suddenly becomes a nice meaty, chewy texture, which if you're looking to swap out meat to a vegan protein, this is going to be great. It's going to be great for you. And I will say I've never had the buffalo one, so I can't wait to try this one. But aside from the regular tempeh, I also get the tempeh bacon strips from the same brand, Light Life, and those are so good. I make BLTs with those, and it's just so flavorful. It's very similar to tofu. It has about 10 to 20 grams of protein per serving, and the serving here is 3 ounces, so almost similar to tofu, just a little bit less. The third protein source is something that might be a little controversial to my healthy vegans out there, but it's gonna be faux meats for me. So I think vegan meats are super innovative, and I think they're really helpful depending on the situation. Obviously, it's not exactly the healthiest option to go with a faux meat, but it helped my husband and I a lot when we were transitioning from not being vegan to going vegan. So I still have it in my diet. We don't eat it every single day anymore, but it is part of our staples. Every once in a while, I'll grab some. I have a few examples here. Right now, I have this. This is, I believe, vegan ham, which we put in like regular sandwiches. I don't have the details on protein for this one because it's in a stasher bag. I threw out the packaging. Still a good protein source. I have another like bag. I threw away the packaging, but I just wanted to show you what it looks like. This is vegan bacon. Tell me that doesn't look pretty legit. And then I have the top tier, Impossible. It's frozen, so that's why it looks a little funny. But Impossible, honestly, the best faux meat out there, at least in my opinion right now. This has 3 servings per container, and each serving has 19 grams of protein. So very comparable, even more so than the tofu and tempeh. And it tastes like meat, people. Like, if you are having a hard time with that, you gotta give the Impossible a try. It's super, super good. It's not healthy, it's quite fatty, but it's super delicious. And if you wanna have your meat similar type meal, all for the Impossible or whatever faux meat floats your boat. Moving on to the next protein source. This is, I know it's a box of pasta. You might be confused if you've never seen this before, but Banza is a chickpea-based pasta, and chickpeas have a lot of protein in them. So I never feel bad when I'm having pasta. People feel bad when you're having pasta. Never feel bad for having pasta if you want pasta, by the way. But if you're having chickpea pasta, it has an added benefit of having a lot of protein in it. So I always get the Banza pasta. It's my favorite. It's my favorite chickpea or legume or bean based pasta out there. 4 servings per container, and 1 serving has 11 grams of protein. So that's huge when it comes to pastas. That's really, really big, and that's awesome because honestly, sometimes we eat more than the serving size, right? So you're probably gonna get even more protein from this. I don't think I need to tell you how I prepare my pastas. I do all sorts of different kind of pasta recipes. I have a few pasta salad recipes on the blog though, so if you wanna check that out, that's on the blog. The next thing is peanut butter or nut butter. You can use any nut butter, honestly. They all have protein in them. But yeah, nut butters. Nut butters are used for so many different things. You don't have to just spread it on toast. You can add this to sauces for noodle dishes. You can put it in smoothies, honestly. So nut butters have protein, if you didn't know. I think it has about 4 to 5 grams of protein per 2 tablespoons or 1 ounce, all for the nut butters. This might be a surprising one. This is nutritional yeast. If you haven't heard of nutritional yeast, it is a seasoning. It's sort of like a seasoning. It's very common in vegan recipes because of its cheesy flavor. It's delicious. I put it in like tofu scramble. I put it in anything that should have a cheesy taste or an umami taste. You might be shocked to know that this has a lot of protein in it. 14 grams per ounce or 2 tablespoons. That's shocking. That's a lot of protein in just some seasoning. And if you're wondering if you're going to use that much, probably not, but either way, even just a little bit, you're still getting some protein, right? I would use this for anything that you're trying to replicate in terms of a cheesy flavor. So if you're doing an Alfredo sauce, sprinkle some in there. If you're trying to get a bit of flavor in your tofu scramble, put it in there. Just toss it in there. It's just an added boost of flavor and protein. So those are all of the things that I have on hand with me right now. I just ran out of a couple things, but I do want to mention them to you. And one of those things are Ezekiel bread. So Ezekiel bread is known to be like the super, super most healthiest bread that you can possibly get. It is jam-packed with so many nutrients and it's super good for you. It's bread. Like, who doesn't like bread, right? So Ezekiel bread has quite a bit of protein in it, 8 grams per 2 slices, which is just a slight bit more than regular bread, I think, but still 8 grams per 2 slices, that's not bad. That's protein there, right? And I actually made a mistake on the nut butter. It's actually 5 to 7 grams per ounce or 2 tablespoons. So even more than the 4 to 5 that I mistakenly said. But the last thing that I will mention are vegetables. Vegetables have protein. Some vegetables are high in protein, if you did not know that. And some of the vegetables that are always in my kitchen are potatoes, spinach, and broccoli. And those 3 have a ton of protein compared to other vegetables and stuff like that. Those 3 have a lot of protein, so about 4 to 5 grams per cup, which is not that bad. I mean, that's pretty good for vegetables, and a lot of people don't realize that vegetables have protein. So just do a little bit of research if you want to know exactly how much protein are in your veggies, but yes, you can get protein from your vegetables. So those are my vegan protein sources, my staples that are always in my kitchen, like I've said, and I believe these are very, very accessible. I know for a long time the nutritional yeast was only in health food stores, but I have been seeing these in major grocery stores quite recently. So just do a little bit of digging. They might be in the health section of your grocery store. They might be a vegan section in your grocery store. And if faux meats aren't something that are very accessible to you, you still have a ton of other things that are pretty accessible, more so accessible than before. And also, if you can't get the bonza pasta, there are a lot of brands coming out right now, all sorts of bean pastas and stuff like that. So there is a lot of variety of vegan protein sources, and there are more popping up in the grocery stores every single week. So go exploring, go check out your grocery store. I find it to be a lot of fun whenever I spot something new. But let me know which of the things that I've mentioned is your favorite, or if you have a favorite that I didn't mention, definitely let me know in the comments. My personal favorite is tofu. I don't think that's a surprise. This was fun to do. I hope it was interesting, informative, or at least entertaining. I did want to end the video just by doing one little example on what a typical meal would be like with these items that I've mentioned, and so I've got it on my phone. This is something that I make every single week for Ian. I do a tofu scramble seasoned with nutritional yeast, other seasonings. I also mix in some spinach, and I do a side of potatoes for him with 2 slices of Ezekiel bread. And when you do the calculations on that, that totals to at least 43 grams of protein. Now, that's just for one meal. So I think that puts a lot of things in perspective here when you actually take a look at what you're consuming and the protein that's actually associated with it. I don't think that any of us, at least in America, are going to be dealing with some protein deficiencies. But again, like I said, it all depends on the person. Consult with a professional. These are just some of the things that I personally use, and it is not to be taken like expertise. I am definitely not an expert, and I know there are a ton more different protein sources that are out there that are favorites to other people. So again, let me know in the comments, and I hope you like this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you in the next video.